Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Blue Eyes Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for post-Battle of Chaos. With the release of Battle of Chaos, we were given new Blue Eyes support, and with it, a very needed update to the deck. It was really good. Blue Eyes always had that power just to summon out some pretty powerful monsters on the deck, but we got a new version of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, that just helps with consistency for special summoning. Dictator of D, who also helps with just setting up very interesting attack style. A lot of good cards. It definitely helps with the overall play style of the Blue Eyes White Dragon deck, and even a couple new spells, including a fusion spell. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck monsters, we're running 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is definitely staple for the deck, just being your powerhouse, very easy to search out and special summon with all the different cards we run in the deck. So you definitely want to run 3 copies of it. There are cards that require 3 copies of it, like Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Having just these powerhouses in the deck requiring 3 means that 3 is just a staple for sure. With some of our other 3-ofs that we run in the deck, I am running 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue. When this card's normal summon, you can add 1 level 1 Light Tuner from your deck to your hand, except for Sage with Eyes of Blue. And you can discard this card to target 1 effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, you can use this effect of Sage with Eyes of Blue once per turn. So the best setup with this card revolves around Whitestone of the Ancients, because not only can you send it with your Sage with Eyes of Blue, summoning out Blue Eyes at the end of the turn, you also get another Blue Eyes summon off of the Whitestone of the Ancients, and it was sent to the graveyard that turn. With our newest card for the deck being the Dictator of D, while you control a Blue Eyes monster, you choose the attack targets for your opponent's attacks. You can only use each of the following effects of Dictator of D once per turn. You can send 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And you can discard 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 card that mentions it, then target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So this is a brand new 3 of the deck. I would say is definitely the best Lord of D revival or evolution card that we've gotten. This one just gives you so much power for the Blue Eyes deck, making it so your opponent has to attack into particular monsters you control. If we have out cards like Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, it just is that much more scary of a play. Dictator of D has that special summon power, setting up Blue Eyes in the graveyard to then just be summoned off of other cards, you name it. It's definitely a 3-of, and being a dark attribute monster even gives us room for some consistency with Chaos Dragon Levianeer in the deck, having all the other monsters be light. For the last of the 3-ofs, I also run 3 Whitestone of the Ancients once per turn during the end phase of this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn. You can special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. You can only use this effect of the Whitestone of Ancients once per turn. So you just have consistency for recycle for a bunch of different Blue Eyes monsters, but depending on what Blue Eyes monster you may need to summon out on the field, it is useful and powerful with cards like Sage with Eyes of Blue, being able to set it up. At the end of the turn, you have all this power, or even just sending it to the graveyard with some other cards, like the Melody of Awakening, to then get more Blue Eyes cards into our hand. I also run 2 Whitestone of Legend. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. So with all the send power you have, you just have more and more plays to rely on with this card. Adding Blue Eyes gives us search power for using with some of the other cards we run on the deck, like Dictator of D. I only run 2, though. Compared to Whitestone of the Ancients, it doesn't really give us a special summon option. It's mostly in the deck just for search power, but still, 2 also giving us a tuner play for special summoning out cards like the Crystron Halqifibrax to then summon this card onto the field. Going for additional link plays, then giving you that search from the graveyard. Especially useful since it is a mandatory add. It basically won't miss timing for any of those plays after you go for another summon in the extra deck. I also run 2 Dragon Spirit of White. One of the cards I love to summon off of the Whitestone of the Ancients. With this card, it's always treated as a Blue Eyes card, and this card is treated as a normal monster while in the hand or graveyard. When this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it, getting around the destruction play. And also, if your opponent controls a monster, being able to tribute this card to special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, bringing out the actual powerhouse onto the field, but still a great card to rely on the end phase if your opponent tries to set up any back row, and you sent a Whitestone of the Ancients to the graveyard this turn. You can then summon out this card and get rid of that back row before they can even activate it on the following turn. I also run 2 Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. It cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by revealing 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. You can only special summon Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon once per turn this way. This card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. And once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn the effect is activated, but it gives you a resource on the field. One that can destroy a card your opponent controls, and then just available as a resource to use for any of your extra deck plays. For some of the one-ofs for the Blue Eyes cards, I also run 1 Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon and the one of the new Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 ritual spell or 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. During your end phase, you can add 1 level 8 or higher dragon monster from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard. All level 8 or higher dragons you control gain 1,000 attack. You can only use each of the effects of Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon once per turn, so it's more of a setup card for the powering up of your Blue Eyes cards in this deck, since we do have the new fusion spell for Blue Eyes, which works a lot better for the actual fusion summon of those cards. And Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, while other cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and you can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon once per turn. You want this card, if it's in the graveyard. If a card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. And if there was, when this card is also destroyed at the start of damage step, if this card battles, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So setting it up in the graveyard just gives you an option when your opponent destroys one of your other Blue Eyes cards to then summon it onto the field, giving you a resource that will protect your own cards from being destroyed by card effects aside from Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. And I also run the 1 Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Already spoke of it before. We have the majority being the light attribute in the deck, but we do have the Dictator of D being a dark monster, along with a few setups in the extra deck to go into, and then also use for the banish for Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Just if you want the destruction option with this card, you can still banish 3 light monsters and get a special summon from the graveyard. Being a level 8 monster, you can special summon your Blue Eyes onto the field, and with that you have a rank 8 play to go into. And that is it for the main deck monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 2 Bingo Machine Go. Now, I thought of running 3 of this card in the deck. It is just search. I can show what you can put in for a 3rd copy of it, but you just reveal 3 cards from your deck that each meet at least one of the criteria listed below. Your opponent randomly picks 1 for you to add to your hand and shuffle the rest into your deck. It either has to be a Blue Eyes monster or a spell or trap that specifically lists the card Blue Eyes or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, except for Bingo Machine Go. It's just that random search, kind of like Paw Duality, but it has no restrictions on the special summoning. I have 2, like I said, if you want to run an additional 3rd copy, I'll show you in just a bit what you can take out for these spells. I'm running 2 of the new Ultimate Fusion. During the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate as material by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck. Then you can destroy that many face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon and or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon used from the field as material. So this just clears out your opponent's field for your big monster you'll also have on the field to use. I run 2. I feel it's all you need. We do have the Vert Anaconda option to go into this card a little quicker, but being a quick play spell, it also can rely on just, having your opponent set up their field, you having the Blue Eyes on the field to summon out, and then destroy their cards after you get the fusion monster out. And I also run 2 Melody of Awakening Dragon. With this card, you discard 1 to add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. More and more searches for these options. I think like Dragon, Spirit of White may be the one exception for this card, but with all the other Blue Eyes cards, you have plenty of search to then add them to your hand to use for any of the plays you need, or even just using them for the discard cost for the option of any of your dragons that you're running in the deck to summon out onto the field. And for some of the other Blue Eyes, I run 1 Vision with Eyes of Blue. When you activate this card, you can reveal 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand to special summon 1 monster from your hand. And once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster you control, return that face-up monster to the hand, then you can apply the following effect based on the original name of the card returned. If it was Blue Eyes White Dragon, you special summon 1 monster from your hand. Other monsters, special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your hand, and you can activate 1 Vision with Eyes of Blue once per turn. It gives you resources on the field, whether it be Blue Eyes White Dragon, depending on what was on the field already, or another monster, which it can be one of the tuners that can be then used to summon out some of the synchro monsters that we're running in the deck, like Azure Silver Eyes Dragon or Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. I also run 3 trade-in for the level 8 option. We have plenty of level 8s in the deck that we can then discard to draw 2 cards. Whenever I open up Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, this is one of my favorites because then we can just set it up in the graveyard and then have this protection card to rely on in case one of our monsters gets destroyed, something's onto the field, and giving us a better card to protect all of our cards with. And this could be a potential card you drop down to 2 if you want to run 3 bingo machines instead, but I like the graveyard setup with this card. That's why I stuck to it at 3. But one of the other potential cards you could take out is one of the one-ofs. For a 3rd bingo machine, I run 1 Monster Reborn. I would definitely recommend keeping this one in. It's just a free special summon, especially for a Blue Eyes White Dragon. 1 for 1 for any of the tuner plays to go into, like White Stone of the Ancients, or just the the White Stone of Legend. Whatever you need for that summon, or even Sage with Eyes of Blue. 1 World Legacy Guard Dragon, another special summon for the tuner, and 1 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish Burial to then set up more of these tuners or dragons in the graveyard. I run 1 of each. You could consider running 2 Dragon Shrines. It's a little more beneficial in this deck since it has the option if you sent a normal monster to send 1 more dragon in addition. I just run 1 Foolish and 1 Dragon Shrine since if you by chance open up both of them, you can activate each since Dragon Shrine is a once per turn on that. And then lastly, 1 Call by the Grave. I thought of, taking this out for the 3rd bingo machine. It's just the player preference, but any of the one-off spots could be removed for a 3rd copy of bingo machine if you wish. And then as for the traps, the only trap I'm running in the deck is 3 True Light. Your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragon in your monster zone with card effects, and if this face-up card is sent from the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. You can only use the following effect of True Light once per turn. You can activate one of these effects, special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard, or set 1 spell or trap directly from your deck that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text, with a different name from the cards you currently control and in your graveyard. Another way to search out the Ultimate Fusion or the Bingo Machine Go, or even the one of Vision with Eyes of Blue, that all works great for that setup and giving you a special summon of a Blue Eyes on the field. It is risky to play, but just giving you your plays to begin with is definitely well worth it over the risk that this card could potentially destroy all the monsters you control. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For our fusion monsters, I'm running 1 Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, a card that can't be destroyed by battle and banishes any monster that it does battle with. It can attack monsters twice, so just needing 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon and also being able to fusion summon it or special summon it by sending the above cards you control to the graveyard. You have both options available to you with the new Blue Eyes fusion spell, along with a destruction option for any other monster on the field once you use those Blue Eyes on the field as resources. I also run 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, just as another powerhouse option, and much better, I would say, than just the 4,500 attack point Vanilla Blue Eyes, since it needs the same requirements to summon it. 1 of the new Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon needs a Blue Eyes White Dragon and 1 Dragon Monster, which, don't forget, the White Stone of the Ancients and also the White Stone of Legend count as dragons. They're not rocks, so they can be used as part of the fusion into Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. And I also run 1 Azure Eyes Silver Dragon and 1 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. You can summon out Azure Eyes off of Spirit Dragon, and going for the Spirit Dragon to shut off graveyard plays, and then going into Azure Eyes is more of a protection option for your Blue Eyes on the field, and then having a monster that can just summon out Blue Eyes that much easily as well. And I also run 1 Baron de Fleur for the rest of the synchro plays, just as a level 10 monster that can be used for summoning out using, let's say, 1 of your level 9 Blue Eyes options with 1 of the tuners after you summon out that monster, and then you're given the play for 1 more tuner if you need more of an aggressive play to use against your opponents. And for the Xyz monsters, I run 1 Heretic Sun, Heliopolis, and also 1 of the number 68. If you want to try Dingirsu, it can be a slot to take instead of the number 68. But Heliopolis, with its destruction of tribute monsters from your hand or field, can also help to set up the stones for Blue Eyes in the graveyard that much more faster. For the Link monsters, I run 1 Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, just needing 2 dragon monsters and having a bounce option, and then also being able to special summon a dragon monster for a special summon from your hand deck or graveyard. It makes the attack and defense 0, but still a resource to rely on to use for some other extra deck plays. 1 Verdant Conda to use with the Blue Eyes fusion spell. 1 Halqifibrax for summoning out some tuners quicker from the deck, whether you use the White Stone of Legend or Sage with Eyes of Blue, to then go into a much more needed tuner. Once you set them up in the graveyard, you have that special summoner search. 1 Underclock Taker to lower the attack of some of our opponent's monsters that much more easily. Link Karibo, one of my favorites with the Link monsters, just sending out White Stone of the Ancients, going for Link Karibo and if that's the only play you can do, you at least get a special summon of a Blue Eyes monster afterwards. And lastly, 1 Borreload Dragon and 1 Access Code Talker to finish off the rest of the extra deck. As for some of the go-to plays, I already mentioned the fact that with Trade-In, you have the discard option, and also with Melody of Awakening Dragon to use with our new Blue Eyes Jet Dragon to set it up in the graveyard, giving you the additional draw for some other cards you may need. And then if they get destroyed on the field, you have the special summon option for this card back onto the field to use. The biggest play is just the overall setup, so whether you use your Dictator of D for that additional option for the card, being able to then be played on the field as a choice when your opponent summons out a monster and they choose to attack. As long as you have this special summon setup, you choose the attack, and then also the choice if you have the fusion monster for your opponent to then swing into the many different Blue Eyes monsters you may have on the field and potentially destroy and deal themselves a lot of damage because of that. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely awesome that I was able to update both Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. I really do love both the decks and happy that we got support for both of them in this latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.